Inspiring Single Mothers. I'm your co-host, Liza Magcale, and this is my wonderful co-host, Wendy Bluhm. I'm in Toronto, Canada, single mom of one 11-year-old, precarious as she is, and Wendy is a single mom based out of a new place in California. I can't remember the city that you're in.
Salinas,
and a single mom to 3 beautiful children. We were talking earlier, and Wendy's going to deliver a quote that we're going to jump off with today.
So the quote is from Dave Ramsey, who's like a money expert. And it is, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And yeah, it's important to think about that for money. However, there's also that notion of time is money. And it really made me think about what's my budget on my time, and like, where am I spending my time? And instead of going, oh my gosh, where did my day go? Where did my week go? Where did my month go? Where did my year go? Like, really wanting to be intentional with how I spend those valuable seconds and minutes and hours and days. So yeah.
I love it. I love how, changing one word, I think this is what we were also talking about, from like money to time, and the correlation of how the two are. Like, I think the number one reason that people do not act towards their dreams or their intentions is this disbelief in terms of the lack of time and or money.
Right.
So tell me what brought you to reading the quote. And for me, it reads all about intention. So I want to tap on like what brought you there. Let's highlight that, and then talk about what your intention is with time and money going forward.
Yeah. So I'm a busy person. Not many of us are, and I'm recognizing how often I'm reacting to things around me instead of doing the things that I set my mind to do for a day. And so something will come up, and I will, go into super mom or super, businesswoman mode and be like, oh, I'll take care of that, not consciously thinking about what is that taking away from as a result of allowing this, hey, I need you to come into my world, and me deciding, okay, I'll take care of that. Really stopping, hopefully, and saying, hey, yes, this matters to me. However, this is when I'm going to work on it, instead of I'm going to work on it right this moment because that feels good. And I am guilty of taking care of things that are easy to take care of because, wow, that feels good, instead of the reward of getting the things that I really set my mind towards doing that day done, and then having that completed and saying, okay, now I can go on to this. And certainly there's moments where it is of urgency and you do want to take care of it right away, and that's fine. However, really paying attention to the fact that I regularly allow the little things that, not that they don't matter, they just don't have the importance level of some of the other things that I need to get done. And I think I am guilty of taking advantage of those immediate rewards for getting things accomplished, because you can get all kinds of things accomplished and get that feel good, and they're not the things that you really need to be doing. So
it's a tough balance, right? When you need a quick pick-me-up to fill that feel good willpower tank, like whatever it might be, there's definitely that like investment into something to be able to do something else, and playing around with that, it can be I use a term called mental gymnastics in another area, and it's like the back and forth. Do I do it? Do I not? Do I do it? Do I not? Or should I, should not? It's this constant, like bantering almost in your head. The truth for me is reducing the charge a little bit of like the guilt that comes from doing that is like, I'm just doing research. I just want to figure out what's working for me, right? Like, if I do this, do I feel good? And then just making tweaks, right? Like every single day, making a tweak to do. So I used to be really guilty of stacking my calendar and would leave no room for anything. Washroom, like having lunch, just disconnecting even from my desk. And it led to this ballooning of weight over 15 years, right? Like all of a sudden, you're not as healthy, you're not as limber, you're feeling pain. So I, a reward is a reward if it's going to hit all of the goals. Like, and I've started to smush things too. So like if I can walk and talk, or just to get the win and do it. And then the other is definitely chunking time. So I'm interested to see how our audience is really going to respond to this, because I'm sure we're not the only ones.
Oh no. I mean, I see it in many of the people that I love and interact with. We all have these things. And then there are people that I'm like, how the heck can they be so diligent in their schedule? Like I'll say something and they'll be like, oh yeah, well, I have next Tuesday. I'm like, okay, you're cool. I could never tell somebody next Tuesday when I'm like, hey, you want to go get coffee right now?
Right, right, right,
Be
right,
like,
right,
oh yeah, let's do it.
right,
And
right.
they're like, yeah, the first time I have 15 minutes available is,
Yeah.
and I totally get it. I mean, they're great. That's great. That's great for them. And maybe someday I'll, you know, have the flexibility of 15 minutes when I want to just take it. And also the, hey, this is something that's better suited for next week for me.
Well, I think you really touched on it earlier when you're like, when you do that, when you say, yes, let's go for coffee right now, what is it taking away from? And I think that's the
Right.
counter, right? That's the check that's in place to go, okay, what am I actually doing? And what is it saying about the current state that I'm
Mhm.
in having to make this decision or choosing to make this decision?
So the thing that I can 100% say, since you brought this up, what I have done in the past, and I'm likely still guilty of hoping to move away from it, is I'll just be like, okay, I'll just stay up later. So I took that time out of my normal waking hours, and I'll just stay up later and do the thing that I probably should have been doing instead of that time with my girlfriend, or instead of that time with whatever. And I, it's burnout. You get to a place where you then can't stay up late. You crash on your bed or on the couch, or you're like driving and you're like, oh my God, I can't even keep my eyes open. I need to get home. And so, really being mindful of what's that doing to me if I'm putting more in my day than I technically can handle, and then not getting the rest or not getting the exercise or not feeding myself properly as a result of being in a hurry, which is my huge often guilty of. Oh, I'll just take this very convenient fast food, because at least I'm eating, instead of the, oh, don't eat. And anyway, yeah. So
It's a
burnout.
snowball. It's a snowball, especially when you get into burnout. It's so much harder to get out when you're like, kind of like, if you're, I'm gonna be quiet. What was that? What
I
was
just I,
that? I'm
I'm
like,
just like
okay.
trying to come out of burnout, and just when you're in the burnout and you're like, I I you don't want to say I can't do this. Like, you don't want to give up. You're burnt out. There's so many, like I've said this to you before, those moments where you're not getting the feel good in any of the areas that you're working on. Like, you don't feel good about your exercise goals, you don't feel good about your money goals, you don't feel good about your time with children goals, you don't feel good about your work, like efficiency, whatever it is. It's all not feeling good enough, and you're just like, oh, I want to give up. And you're like, I am not allowed to give up. I'm not allowed to. And and so you're burnt out, you're not feeling successful in any of the areas. And so then you do the things that aren't good for you to make you feel good, like food, some people alcohol, drugs, whatever they are. And for me, it's always been food or coffee. And I take my coffee like super not coffee. It's like cream and sugar with a
A
little bit
little
of
bit of
coffee splash.
coffee.
But I actually don't do real sugar. I've had the fake sugar, which is even probably worse. So I but those are the things that I filled my body with to feel good in the moment. um and it's just like, what am I going to do differently, and how am I going to recharge, reset, and one of the things that I really want to do for myself here over this 2021 year 2021 is I want to be mindful of what works, like what's working for me in those moments where I'm burnt out. What helps me get out of the burnout better than some of the other things that I've done? Because maybe that's the ticket, is if I can find the things that bring me out of burnout faster, then I can do those quicker than I'm starting to feel burnout. And I'd be like, oh, this is what I need to do before I get to the place where I like, oh, I can barely do anything.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we often talk about my favorite cycle is like awareness, labeling, experiencing, and releasing. And it's like, okay, we're aware you're in burnout mode, like, and we know how you got here, right? Like you closed on a house, you moved, like you're just like looking for a new. All of these things add up, and then the minute that you're settled and the furniture is all set, it's a crash, right?
Right. It's like, okay, I've gotten those chaotic things out of the way. The things that were like, okay, this has to get done, this has to get done. And I'm there. And now it's like, oh, and and then you just want to stay there.
Right, because
and
your
the
body needs
oh,
to like relax because it's been on hyper overdrive. Like, I mean, I'm not a doctor nor am I like a medical expert, but I do know that I have read a lot of things about cortisol. When you're running at that level, your cortisol is like driving you drive, and then eventually, like you hit like some type of, I think they call it like adrenal fatigue, where your brain is just like you're done.
yeah.
And so part of the awareness is like what actually keeps you sustained. And just again, in my own personal research, it's like the anchoring of a great morning routine and an anchoring of a great night routine. If those are stable and stable enough for long enough, you're building enough of a willpower tank that you won't get to burnout. You'll get to like, oh, this doesn't feel good. And then it becomes research. Like if I do 5 hours instead of 6 hours, and if I do some, and what if I drink a little bit more? Or what if I like eat this type of food? And becoming aware and being able to label what works for you so that you can experience life at this sort of coasting state. Because I did not hit burnout, but I will tell you, I'm focusing right now on not necessarily sleep training an 11-year-old, however, like reestablishing some healthy boundaries around sleeping patterns is what I'll say, because it's not a baby, right? Like she's 11. However, with COVID, the pandemic, virtual school, the increase of screen time, the decrease in physical activity, um, that routine sort of slid off. And without sleep, it's my belief that at some point you're gonna malfunction,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And
And
your awareness radar is not going to be as acute as it would be. So I know that you're doing some really good stuff to recover. So why don't we talk about not like just the way to burn out, but like what are so for me it's like maintaining. I'm only doing like maybe the top 5 things that are going to keep me going, that I know that I enjoy, and I'm not willing to give them up, because if I don't do them, it's not going to be a good look,
yeah.
right? And
Yep.
my demographic is a little bit different than yours. Like I don't have older children. I have the one, like there's not extra support. So you got to do what works for you. So what is working for you right now on your comeback, kid?
Um, so, well, again, I'm literally right in the trenches of deciding what are those things, And so one of the things that I just started, and you're aware of this, is I realized with the pandemic and shelter in place, I wasn't making my daily showers as a priority the way that I did in normal like life. And because I used to shower before 6 a.m. every day pretty much. And I mean every day, Saturdays and Sundays before 6 a.m. I would shower. Every once in a while I would shower in the afternoon on a Sunday or something. But um with the pandemic, my phone starts ringing, usually right before 8 o'clock in the morning. So if I started phone calls before I got that shower in, I might not shower until 7 o'clock at night, or I might not actually shower the whole day because I didn't get off the phone for work until 10 at night and I'm exhausted and I'm just going to go to bed. And I realized that showering was something that was like, it mattered to me. Like it helped me wake up. It felt good. It was taking care of myself. It was something I really appreciated. And I was like, why am I not making that like a priority, even though I don't have to? Like I don't have to look my best necessarily when I'm sitting at home. And rarely am I doing the video calls right now. I think that that's going to get greater and greater where I do more video calls. So that'll be good. But for me, I just really realized I wanted to shower every day, regardless of where I was going. And so that's a commitment to me. And it is okay, first thing I do, get out of bed, take my shower. So it's done. And I've given that to myself. So that's one. And then the other one is drinking my water so that I can tell myself every day that I love myself. Going back to my plant that I have named Wendy, I have to water it. It needs its water. So like it reminds me, okay, water your plant, talk to, take care of you. So those are a couple of the things. And I have a commitment to 144 cycle rides a year this year. So that works out to just under 3 a week. And I am sticking to that. So those are some of my things.
Yeah, they're really great. Like, so how many days are you in a row with like just doing yourself first in the morning when you get up?
So like this is my 5th day
Yeah.
of showering. Like literally, I'm doing my best to not look at my phone other than to see the time. I get out of the bed, go straight to the shower, give myself that time.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that I've like even more so am enjoying those showers. Like I'm doing the lather my face in the shower where sometimes I would just be like, oh, I'm in a hurry to get this shower done. I'm like actually really making it a mindful experience that this is my time to love on me. And I'll probably shave my legs more often. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that I call it spa time because
Mhm.
it's like we can't go to, I mean, I never really went to the spa all the time, but I know that I would go whenever I could go. And now we definitely can't go. And I hadn't gone for a long time just because I had some type of like flesh eating thing at one point, and I was like, I'm not even trying to put myself in those kind of positions. So the home spas were really good. Like I love taking baths. So I definitely make sure I get to do that. And with the working out, I find that like soaking in Epsom salts really is a necessity at my age now. And just to give myself that time with some like essential oils and, um, I think it's really important. And as mothers to young women in particular, and not to say like that boys don't deserve this, okay, and young men, not what I'm saying. I don't know because I don't have them, but if I did, I'm pretty sure that I'd be like, oh no, you got to do self-care too.
Oh
But
yeah, my
to
definitely.
demonstrate, right, to demonstrate how to live, I mean, a happy and healthy life, right?
Mhm.
It's our goal. So, in the 5 days that you've given yourself, like, do you feel like you're coming out of the burnout? Like, do you feel your tank filling up enough? Like, when your iPhone dies, if you have an iPhone, I'm just assuming everybody has an iPhone right now. But like your iPhone is like it's green, and then it goes into yellow, and then it goes into red, and then it just completely shuts off. When you plug it back in, it eventually, like nothing happens for a little bit, right? Until it like gets a little bit of juice in there, and then you see the charger, the lightning cable show up, and it's like, okay, it's rebooting. Like, where do you think you are in your? Because I know what you're like when you're on and your tank is full.
Yeah,
Like, you're like the Energizer Bunny.
it's true. I really
Right?
am.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so,
And
where do you see yourself? Where were you, and where do you see yourself? Were you like totally empty, or?
well, it's challenging because I always feel like um there are definitely moments where like there was one day during that, chaos where I was changing jobs, changing houses, um working on a remodel on the house, like all the things at once. And I literally sat on my couch in my living room at like 6:30 at night and just fell asleep at 6:30. Like, what? How does that happen? Um, and my body was just like, hello, we don't we don't agree with this, and you're going to sleep right now.
Mhm.
And so there's moments like that. However, for the most part, I don't ever feel as though I get below the yellow.
Oh,
I
okay,
mean,
cool.
I might get to red here and there, and I think I'm mindful enough to go, oh, I need to do something, right? And hopefully that is like going to sleep a little bit more or something like that. One of the things that I would just say in answering your question, right now I feel like I am at the bottom of the yellow, and I'm recognizing it, and so I'm saying to myself, what can I do differently? Where can I consciously make a change in how I'm behaving? And again, I think the first step was deciding I'm going to shower in the morning, so that I'm giving myself that, okay, this feels good, this rejuvenates me. I feel like it's a way to wake up, start my day. So I feel like that's the first step. And then the next thing is, when am I going to get that ride in, so that it's not 9 o'clock at night and I haven't ridden and I committed to riding that day. Like, am I going to start to where I take a shower and then ride, which is totally fine with me, um, so that it's done, so that it's out of my things to do list, and I feel the benefits of that ride, which would mean just get up a little bit earlier.
Right. Or
Uh,
flip the ride in the shower.
What's that?
Like you
Flip
do
the
the
right
ride
shower.
first and
Well,
then
I thought about that as well. Like possibly just saying, hey, the reason I'm gonna do my ride before the shower is because then I'm not having to shower twice. Something like that. So I might work on that.
I want to know
And
how you're going to get on the bike and not go onto your phone though. Because
so that's I will say that when I did it at a cycle bar facility, they have a no phone rule. So I didn't have my phone. However, I don't have a locker here, and I don't have anyone telling me I'm not allowed to.
right.
So I have to, decide whether or not that's what I want. Um, and so far I've been really good. One of the things that was really cool for me was recognizing the impact on my ride. So I remember when I got a phone call that felt urgent, and I answered it to tell them that I was on a ride and I would get back to them later, instead of trying to text to say that, right? And so I go and I look at the results of my ride, and you can see exactly where that phone call came in. You can see that my output went straight down, stayed down until the call ended, and went right back up. So, like, there's the impact, Wendy. Is that what you want, to have that phone on your ride with you, right?
Right.
So, I get to decide that.
You do, and just so that you know, last night before I went to bed, because we're starting 6:30 a.m. walk and talks
Uh huh.
on Clubhouse tomorrow. Not every day, like I'll have a different partner for a different topic. However, I put my phone on airplane mode so that I would not, like, just not do anything other than it's telling me the time. Right, like it's telling me the time, and it's gonna ring my alarms, but until like 8 o'clock we're not going on, right? Like, or whatever time it was. I think we started working out at 6:30. So I think it's just being okay to put your phone on lock, whatever that looks like. Just because you don't have a physical locker, you can put your phone on airplane mode for half an hour. The world is not, I mean, I don't want to say the world's not going to blow up. Your world's not going to blow up.
Uh,
Just
do you know the people that I talk to?
why?
Well, I mean, like, some of them feel like if I do not answer that phone, I remember this one time. I went somewhere and I literally was not with my phone for like 4 hours,
Mhm.
and I was in my moment. I was like doing my thing, didn't realize that the phone was like somewhere else. 4 hours. I mean, I had people like blowing up my phone. We're calling the hospitals. Because I didn't look at their texts, or.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're gonna model, right? You can always change. When I meet
Absolutely.
somebody new, I'm always like, if I don't get back to you in 24 hours, that means something's up. You should call me back.
Right.
Because
Well, I think
24,
that,
like the beginning of the day or the end of the day, at one point, I'm gonna reconcile my phone.
yeah.
And I think I don't know if that's really doable all the time these days. However, it's like I get it. The business that you're in, it moves really fast. You're really accustomed to it. Is it sustainable though? Like in a healthy
No,
way?
and that's the thing. This is going off topic. One of the things for my business goals is um, I want to be in demand, not on demand. So I want people to want my services,
Yeah.
but not to feel as though all they have to do is call and I'm right there every single time. I get to choose how I work with them, and it's not that I won't be there, in a timely manner, or they won't get that service that they're used to. It's a matter of, okay, what is best for all of my clients? What is best for me? Well, let's change that. What's best for me and what's best for all of my clients, so that I can serve them all the best way. And being on demand is definitely at a point where that's not going to work much longer, because being in a position where someone expects me to answer a text within 3 minutes, versus some kind of reasonable amount of time during a workday where I have, possibly, I mean, I may talk to somewhere between 20 and 40 people a day. Like, there's a lot of people that I'm talking to in a day. Now that might be, the same person over and over again for different files, but I'm having that many conversations in a 8-hour workday. So like me texting back or me answering a phone call or those types of things, it's definitely a challenge. However, I've managed for a long time that way. It's just exhausting.
Yeah.
So getting to a place where, like, one of the things I haven't taken the time, and maybe that's one of my goals, is to really master the iPhone auto responders. I know that they've gotten better over time. I know there's a custom one now, but I don't know about the custom auto. So like, I set custom auto ones where I can say, if I get a text message right now on do not disturb, they're going to get this message that says, you will get a text response from me personally in the next 2 hours. And that would be a game changer for me. But to have to manually send that every time, am I capable of that? Is that a better use of my time? So
Yeah.
anyway.
No, I mean, I love that you're talking through some solutions. Automation obviously is one of the things that I love most in high touch businesses that we service in our VA business. A big part of training and retraining former clients, like so training new clients for retraining former clients is putting in an assistant to say, like, she's just not available to come in, but rest assured I'll be here to so just having a voice to answer is really important. And oftentimes even in that business, when someone's starting new, I claim the old cell phone number. Like, go get
Right.
a new one and don't give it out. If you give it out, you're creating your own, you're recreating everything that you've done before. But I'm taking your old cell phone number and answering it, and we'll decide what we're gonna put through, and nobody gets that back. Like, it's a bat line. Just so that people can learn how to do things differently. And like, this is the new way of doing business, to service everybody, including myself, because if I'm not in a good state, the way that I do business is not going to be able to continue, because I'm going to burn out. So
Yeah.
I think we should wrap up so that we
Yeah.
don't burn out, and we stay good with ourselves. So maybe next time we can talk about appropriate ways to like exit conversations with family, friends, and in business as well, when you do have to go. Because I think sometimes, especially now, the abruptness of like, okay, we got to go to respect everybody's time and still
Right.
being a good vibe. Like, you're the queen of good vibes on that side. So what do you want to end with today?
Well, again, what I would normally say, is, hey, I have another commitment that's coming up. I need to wrap this up. But for right now, I want
Yeah.
to just say thank you.
Yeah.
again, this is a topic that I'm working on right now, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk through it with you, because it's brought up the things that I want to work on. And so
And we know the magic. Once you speak something into existence, you're going to get support. So if any of y'all, by the time this airs, are like kings and queens of iPhone, maybe you could like hit Wendy up and show her how to do some of that stuff, to help her get streamlined. And, as always, I'm around to help you with like some of the stuff also, one step at a time. So with that said, if you have suffered from burnout, if you want to share your experience on burnout and how you came around it and through it and worked through it, like, please comment below and let us know. And Wendy, we're obviously sending you lots of support and holding lots of really great space for you to get out of the yellow and into the green and start being that Energizer bunny again. So thank you for being so vulnerable and open and sharing.
thanks.
All right. Until next week, guys, I'm Liza Magcale. This is Wendy Bluhm, and we're signing off for Empowering Single Mothers. Bye.
Have an awesome day.